Join discord.gg/flatearth and enter a VC check-in room, and someone will come along to VC Riffia to get involved with the conversation about Earth.
Enemy spotted.
Prissycow Part 3. The Doctor 9783222S 50K failed bet, and Camille.
Creation Bear. I just wanted to answer your question you asked a few minutes ago of why, non-flat earthers come here. And I can only speak for myself, but, I come here because I hear flat earth claims, or I want to more understand what flat earthers actually believe than compared to, like, what non-flat earthers do when debunking or talking about flat earthers. But I do have a question if everyone can remain cordial, and I would like an answer. That's okay. Most of the time when I come here and ask questions, I get like 6 or 7 people yelling at me. So I would just like an answer. So I don't know who's listening, so I won't start unless there's, I don't know, confirmation.
Just go ahead, brother. Go ahead with your question.
Alright. So, from what I've gathered in this server, and what generally flat earthers believe, the only thing everyone can agree on is the Earth is not round.
What?
Like, because I've asked other questions, and mostly that's what it comes back to.
I mean, that's one of many things, but
Okay, I've just heard conflicting reports about stuff, so...
also not really much of a belief that we're offering here. We don't have really a belief to offer you or anyone.
Well, what do you call...
Yeah, can I just say one thing? I find it funny that you say that because, you know, there's so many different types of people in this world, so people believe or think different things. But in my experience here, I've found that there are so many different beliefs related to the globe. Like, so many people come in, well, I think it's this. Well, I believe it's this. And it's all different versions of the cartoon ball. And I'm like, what? Where are you guys getting your information from? Because you could just Google the freaking circumference and radius and shit. Like, and I'm not talking about you specifically. I'm talking about some of these other people who come in here. It's like, what the hell?
Well,
They bring your own globe day some days.
Yeah, that's why I'm specifically trying to set a baseline. I don't want to assume any of you believe anything, because I know you guys believe different stuff depending on the person. But can we all agree that you believe, you believe the Earth is flat, and I won't assume anything else?
I wouldn't say that's a belief. Like, in the same way that when you like measure your height, you don't just believe how tall you are. You can know certain things.
Okay, so you know the Earth is flat.
Oh, depending on what you mean by that. I mean, some people don't really understand what flat means. They have their own ideas,
you think that it's a fact. Or you know it's a fact.
It's like your height is something you can measure and know. It's not like a belief you would offer to someone.
Okay, so you know the Earth is flat then. You've measured... Like the height thing. I don't know. I'm not saying belief as in like a religious belief. I'm just saying in your brain, Earth flat. Like that, like I don't know how to say belief or
that's
fact or no.
That's kind of a given, isn't it, when you say?
Yeah, I'm making sure because I thought other stuff was a given about this community and I come to find that wrong. So I'm making sure we're all on the same page.
I'm speaking for myself real quickly. I'm going to speak for myself. Yes, I know it's flat. Carry on.
I know it's flat also.
Okay. So
this is non sequitur, but CV, your mic's not coming in very clear for me. I can hear everybody else good, but with you, it's really low. Is all.
Cops or
But
something.
yeah, I digress.
I think CB is running from the cops or something.
I'm at the library, so I'll try to speak. I'll try to speak into my mic a little bit better.
yeah. Okay.
He's on the lamb.
So I brought up before, which I don't want to get into an argument about it because I already have like 3 times. I already know the answer. So I'm not trying to say that the Eratosthenes experiment proves and measures the circumference of the globe. That is not what I'm saying, and that is not what I would like to be disproved.
Oh, good. Then we don't even have to talk about it. You didn't even have to bring it up.
No, but okay. So, from my understanding, every time I've talked to people in the server, and we talk about that, it comes down to the Eratosthenes experiment does not prove the Earth is a globe and you can measure its circumference because it works on a flat Earth model. It works on a flat Earth.
I wouldn't say that's something that like
Kind
you
of.
would present. That's not something like Eratosthenes
Well-
is not something you would hear me present or someone in this panel like, okay, guys, Eratosthenes is how we know it's flat. That's their claim. And
I have a question. And I don't mean to interrupt you. Prissycow, can you see the? Are you looking at the live stream?
Yeah.
Okay, like the actual voice text. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, CP.
So
No problem. It's the folks on the Team Globe that will tell you that it also works on flat. But we don't present that as evidence, or we're not making a case with the Eratosthenes thing. So
I may have spoken to different people, but most of the time when I bring that up, I get sent a picture. I'll see if I can find it.
it's inconclusive. I think that's what it comes down to. It's not evidence for a flat Earth or anything. It's just that it's not very conclusive, and it's based on a lot of assumptions as well.
No.
You go into it assuming the surface is already curved. You assume the distance to the sun. You assume the parallel light rays as well.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it proves anything. I'm saying it does it do different measurements, like with making no assumptions about why the measurements are there. Do you get different measurements?
I mean, what exactly are we measuring? Because we're not measuring the circumference. You're just measuring shadows on the ground.
Yes,
and then
yes.
Trying to extrapolate that out to.
Yeah, I'm just saying the shadows on the ground thing. Nothing about the circumference. Nothing about round. None of that.
So then,
just what is
point?
observable.
It doesn't really cache. Like it's like a check that you can't cache. You see.
So what? Because I haven't gotten to my point yet.
Okay, sorry.
So that is commonly used. The people who believe in the globe commonly use that to measure this, to supposedly measure their circumference, and to and extrapolate that to the globe being round. And that's assumed in the experiment. But but if you do the experiment, you get different lengths of shadows. And so the common explanation for it, everyone knows, I assume, here, is the Earth is a globe and the sun is super duper far away. Which, obviously, y'all don't believe. Why are we getting those results, like, if the Earth is flat? Because what I have seen when I ask and look into this is that
what results?
The different lengths of shadows.
You can have that happen like in a room on a table with like a light in your room.
Yes.
Same phenomenon can take place within like a house. You can get different lengths of shadows on a table.
Yes, I understand that.
So is the table like curved or in a globe? Probably not.
No,
So
that's not what I'm saying.
It's inconclusive.
I
So
am not trying to prove anything about it being round. I've not said anything that it's round.
It's okay.
I'm not
just trying to guess what
prove
you
that.
said. I know you don't have to repeat yourself. So,
Okay.
like, well, what about the results?
Well, you're bringing
You
up
can
the
get the
table
same
being curved. Yes. So
No,
Go to
but
this
you can
drop
get the
down
same
on your
quote
channel
results. Hold
material.
on, hold on, hold on.
Disk recording, render to
Stop
WAV
that.
file.
So, well, what is your intention for bringing it up? Because it's a conversation that's been thoroughly fleshed out. I would recommend you go to the search bar there at the top and just type Eratosthenes, and just while you're talking, you can kind of look through
because every
results.
time,
There is 8,000 results and 322 pages of history of us discussing the topic. So there's a
yes,
lot of stuff there you can go through, but again, it's just even
I'm
the people on the other side that aren't flat earthers will admit that it's inconclusive. So I'm
I'm
just curious
getting
why
there,
you.
and that's not what I'm asking about.
Let's get to the end, please.
Okay.
Let's
Well,
get
every
to
time
it.
I try and assume things, I just get yelled at. So
I'm not
I'm
yelling.
setting
I'm
the
quite
baseline.
literally in a library
Yes,
whispering.
you're not
So
yelling at me. I'm saying when I've done this in the past and
go
tried
ahead
to
and
ask this
just go
question.
ahead and
All
wrap up
right,
your point.
wait.
Let's get to
Okay.
the end of
Can
this.
I say
So,
something, man?
yes.
Can I say something? This
Yes.
is wait. Let's not live in the past or worry about the future. We're here and now, bro. We're having this conversation. I
I
understand you've
know.
been yelled at in the past or had to do that's okay. I understand that, but this is now. We're talking to CD now.
Okay.
No worries, bro. It's okay.
Well, go ahead. I'll let you make a
So,
case. I want you got
I'm.
time, so go ahead and make a case.
Yeah, I'm not trying to make a case for the globe. I'm not trying to prove that at
You've
all.
already said that. Just go ahead and
I
make
know.
whatever
Okay.
you need to say.
So,
Make your point. You're
okay.
just
So
repeating
if it
yourself.
works on a flat Earth, then what I have been told is if it works on a flat Earth, then you need a smaller sun that is closer to the Earth.
No, who's claiming that?
That's what I've been told in this server.
From who?
Like the admins.
I'm hearing.
Yeah,
I don't
like
know if I believe
Mayhem
that.
and like the owner and like
We'll have to
3
check
or
with
4 other
them.
people.
We'll have to check
Because
in with them, but
well, there's how do I get access to the pictures that y'all have a bot for? Is
only
there like
Gold Plus
is it
has
PDF
that.
storage? Oh, I'm not. I just want to
Not
see the
sure.
pictures because I want to get the exact one that
Some
I
of them
get
are
sent to me.
Some of them are being posted in the chat. There's been a couple that have been posted, some gifs and some stuff. So take a look at the
I'll
chat.
see.
You might see some of the stuff that is related. But because what I'm hearing, I have a clip from Vsauce. I don't think I have it
I've
available.
already seen the video.
Well, but it's that's what I'm saying. It's guys like that who are saying, well, if it was flat, then the sun would have to do this, this, and this. And it's like
no,
that's not really what we're saying. That's not our
but
claim.
I'm
The sun
saying
should or would or could be doing.
that is what I've been told. If that is not the case, then why is it happening? Why are we getting different shadow lengths?
Well, again, I hate to bring it back to the room and the table. You can have that same experience on a table. So I think overall it's just something that's not very conclusive. I am curious why it's something you're leaning on at the moment, or maybe you just have questions. But it is a topic that's been thoroughly fleshed out, of course. So
Every time I've heard it talked about, it's been disproving that it's a globe and not proving that the
well,
Earth is flat.
of course not. Doesn't prove it's not evidence for the flat Earth, brother. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's inconclusive for both sides. It's not evidence for either side. If it's based on first of all, it's based on a lot of assumptions. So
I'm saying not taking those assumptions into account. But
have
the
to.
only
You can't just discredit. You can't just disregard the assumptions that
I
are
can't
involved.
just use observations.
Because you can have that same observation in a room on a table.
Yes, but not in a room on a table.
Yeah, in a room on a table.
Yeah,
Look at
yeah,
the
but
post from Donato at 47 minutes past the hour. And I think there's another one too. I'll see if I can find it.
yes, I understand that they assume it is 93 million miles away. And I didn't say the globes are right. I want to know what the flat earthers think is going on.
You're measuring shadows. I think you're measuring shadows is what I think is going on.
So why are the shadows different lengths? We don't know.
What do you mean? Like you have
lengths where the sun moves, the shadows get different lengths.
No, but at the same time.
You're not
going
in
by
both
story,
places at
right?
the same time.
Yes, but you can have two different people.
So how would I get different angles in the picture I just posted? How would you get different angles in that? Would you?
With that picture.
What about
it? So the picture that was just posted, according to Aristophanes, this table is a ball. So that works if the light source is very, very far away, or
Yeah, using that you can calculate the distance to the light source using that if you want to on a flat surface.
Yes. So how do we know anything about the sun? Like how far away it is or how big it is?
The sun is a complete unknown for you, for me, for everyone that's ever lived. It's
This
a
goes
mystery.
overhead. This goes around overhead, goes away from us, comes towards us, makes light, and then it gets dark.
If I'm false, I'm not saying anything about a curve, Eratosthenes.
And I just said what the sun does.
Yes. So, yes, I doubt the lamp is very, very far away. So that's why you're getting that result on a flat surface. Flying. What I've been told in this survey is that you need a small localized sun for it to work on a flat surface. And I want to know, but is there a small localized sun, or is that not accurate to what this server thinks is fact?
We're not making. We just talked about that. You just asked us about the sun. I said it's a complete unknown for everybody. So we're not the ones making claims about the sun should be this and should do that, should do this.
Well,
it's guys like Vsauce who are saying, well, if it's flat, then the sun has to do this.
Look at the meme from Donato right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that is flat earthers saying that you have a smaller localized sun.
No, well, that's not, bro. We're not saying
What does that mean?
It's like that. It's just because no, dude. You gotta. A lot of this stuff is rebuttals to things that globers say. Oh, if the Earth is flat, then there would be sunlight everywhere. And it's like, okay, well, how about this? It's not. We're not saying that this is what it is. Oh, this is just a meme, dude. So we're not making the claim that this is exactly what's happening. We don't know what the sun is, or where it is, or how it is, or any of those things.
Yeah.
Not making claims.
It's about sharing the realm of possibility, because people will be like, oh, it only works this way, and hold the light bulb up. And see, that's why flat Earth is impossible. And it's like, yeah, but, the realm of possibility exists too. So, hey, check this out. And the dog's like freaking flexing with a little light bulb. I'm just saying, man.
So,
a lot of this stuff is rebuttals. You got to keep that in mind as well, Prissy. We're not actually coming out making claims saying, well, Eratosthenes proved this. We're making a rebuttal often to the claims they make. So they say, well, it only works on a globe. We go, well, here's some other options.
So
we're not making a claim that this is what it is.
Every time I've tried to ask a question, it has just gotten to, no, I'm saying something different, bro. It has gotten to, we don't know, we're not making a claim. But in saying something is wrong, what's right then?
You don't have to. Falsification is independent of replacement. You don't have to replace.
Okay. But is there any proof for the
false.
flat Earth, or is there only disproving that it's a globe?
No, of course there is. It's called measurements, and obviously, like assuming things about the sun isn't having anything to do with the surface of the Earth, or measuring shadows and then extrapolating that out to to more parts of the Earth that hasn't been measured. So yes, there's proof. There's positive proof, but a lot of the things that we deal with is the claims that are on the table that the Earth is spinning, curving, and in a larger space. Those are the claims we try to address. It's like if your neighbor said, "Hey, I won the lottery," and you go, "Yeah, no, you didn't." You don't have to like come up with a new claim, and you're just simply addressing his claim. So that's typically what we're doing. If you've been in court before, if you're familiar with like the court process, only one party can hold the burden at one time. not that both parties hold a burden of proof. So that's kind of how this works as well. The positive claim is that the Earth is a globe spinning and all that stuff. So we're just addressing that positive claim. We don't have to make new claims and say, oh, well, our version is like this. We don't typically do that here. So
What I have been told is that there's no claims about the flat Earth other than that it's flat. Is there claims from the flat Earth about anything else?
well, I wouldn't say that's a claim. It's just the observation. We're not saying like, well, I claim it's flat, because you can go outside and observe that.
Okay.
And then you can measure the surface, and then if it measures flat, that's what it is. If you're 6 foot tall and you measure you're 6 foot tall, then that's what it is.
So why is it a claim when I say the Earth is globe, but not when you say the Earth is flat?
Because you need to measure it to be a globe. Go out to the sea level at a beach with your friend, go 10 miles, and measure a 66-foot drop, and then I'll become a globe earther.
Okay. So I'm not trying to prove that the Earth is the globe. I want to see.
You don't have to say it anymore. We got you.
I know, but you aren't telling me any claims. You aren't telling me any
we don't
evidence.
Have to. Well, you're not asking for evidence. You're
okay. Can you send it to me?
What are we doing here? Because
I wanted to find out that
now you're like, give me a claim.
I wanted to find out if flat earthers believe that the sun is small and localized, or if there is a different explanation for why the shadows are different lengths. If there is no claim, then my question is answered with there is no claim. Moving to the next thing, what are claims flat earthers make about the Earth being flat?
Why do you want claims? So you should say, well, if you have measurements, I want to see those.
That is a claim.
No,
or
it's
you
not.
could go out and measure it yourself and come up with your own claims. It's easy
because
to
I got
do.
shit to do.
Here's an example. You don't have to do it tonight, brother. You've got your whole life to go take a vacation and go to the beach or a lake and do this. It doesn't have to be tonight or tomorrow. But here's the difference, right? If you tell me that you are 7 foot tall, okay, there's our claim.
Yeah.
If we go and measure your height and you're not 7 foot tall, then we have a problem.
Yeah. Then you prove that I'm not 7 foot tall.
That's exactly what's happening. The Earth is claimed to be a certain height, 959 in radius. So we're going out and testing that, and it's not true. We don't have to give you a new claim. Oh, it's actually this height. It's just that
when you measure me, do you know what height I am?
Of course, we know now. It's not that we have to make a new claim at that point. Now we know. We measured you. You're actually 6 foot. So that's what it is.
So what would you call my actual height? If it's not a claim, what is it?
It is what it is.
It's a fact.
Okay, so what are
it is what it is.
So what are the facts about the flat Earth?
Water is flat
of the
level.
Earth measures flat. Yes, the surface of the water, especially, is flat and level.
So when we measure the Earth, is that the Earth in entirety?
No, that's not required to measure the Earth in entirety. Just like with the Eratosthenes thing, they didn't measure the Earth in its entirety to get the claim of the circumference. So that requirement that you have to go step to step every single part of the Earth, that's not required. Let me give you an example, okay? So let's take like the hood of a car. I mean, most hoods or bonnet, if you're across the pond, I would say generally they have curvature to them, unless you drive like an old Cadillac or something, right? So generally the hoods are curved. So now let's take that hood and blow it up to the size of like a state or a country, very, very big. So now you want to test and find out whether it's curved or not. All you would need to do is have some type of straight edge and, over the top of the surface, and you're looking for any deviation away from that straight edge. Any deviation whatsoever means that it's can't be flat. So that's what you're measuring. You're measuring for deviation. You're looking for curvature. There's no requirement to measure the whole Earth to find out for that. And I'll give you one more thing to chew on here. I'm sure the guys want to chime in as well. I do recommend people just like take 30 seconds to a minute and look around you, whatever room you're in or wherever you are. Just look around at all the surfaces around you. I agree, there's a lot of flat surfaces in here, but there are only two options here. The surfaces can either be rounded or curved in some way, or they're not. So the same thing applies to reality in the water. It's either curved or it isn't. So if you go out and measure the Earth, you measure any deviation whatsoever, there's your curvature. It's over. You don't have to measure the whole Earth to know it's curved. But the same thing also applies in the reverse. If you go out and measure lack of curvature, especially based on the claimed size that they claim, then it can't be curved. So this idea that you have to go measure every inch of the Earth is not required.
Okay. So, what if over a long enough scale that, because if it's bigger, then the angle will be less dramatic, like the drop, right?
I mean bigger, because the globe's already claimed to be a specific size. Just like if you were 6 foot tall, then there has to be 72 inches
Yes,
there when
I
I measure you.
understand
So you
that.
can't say, well, what if I'm just bigger?
No, I
No,
mean
the
if.
claim is what it is.
Okay. So, what if you are not gathering a large enough data set? You are not measuring long enough.
Again, I just told
To
you.
see
Oh,
it.
sorry, I just explained. I just explained to you. There's only 2 options for surface description. Did you look around you? I mean, do you see what I'm
Yes,
talking about, or
when
do you
it is
disagree?
on a
Hold
smaller
on, hold on,
scale,
hold
it
on,
can
hold
be
on, hold on, hold on,
perceived as flat.
hold on, sir. Hold on, sir. Just saying that there's only 2 options here. I would say it's a true dichotomy, unless you disagree and are able to present a third option.
Okay, I'll present a third option.
It's
Oof.
just a logic problem. It's a true or
Right.
false statement. You can't have maybe.
No, I'm not saying maybe. Did you hear me say maybe, bro?
Let's see. I want to see that third option, because I would say this is a true dichotomy, and I've spoken to lots of globe earthers who would agree that it is also a dichotomy. So, what would the third option be then?
The third option would be over a smaller scale.
Oh, that's
It
not what
can
I'm
be
asking. That's
perceived
not what I'm
as
asking.
flat.
That's not what
What?
I'm asking. That's
What
not
do
what I'm
you?
asking. Surface description. Got a table in front of you, your computer. These things are surfaces, right? So the screen of my computer here is a flat surface. The backside is rounded. What's the third option? Spoiler alert, there is no third option. Those are the 2
Okay.
options that we have. So now, in terms of size and scale, it doesn't matter. Again, I gave you the example of the hood of a car. If there's any deviation whatsoever, cannot be flat, period. So if we went out to reality at any scale, small or large, if there was any deviation, it cannot be flat, period.
Okay.
So the same thing applies in reverse.
I'm sorry, but
There's lack of curvature.
you don't even have to defend like a small scale example, because there are big scale examples that show no curvature of the Earth. We have
Can
all
I
types
see
of.
them?
Sure, a second.
Okay.
That's what you got to keep in mind, though,
Because
Prissy,
I
because
don't want to get
you
a
can't.
boat or walk. I want to just see the evidence.
Don't be lazy, but like, so
Have you done it?
yes, I spent a month in San Diego, California, at the beach doing long distance observation. So yes, I did take time to go out and
How
test
far did you
for
measure?
myself. Okay, that's actually a good question. I was going to talk about that. So just like with your height, right? Claim to be 6 foot, there has to be 72 inches there. So same with the globe, they're claiming it's a radius of 3959. So that means that at 1 foot off the ground, the geometric horizon has to be at 1.22 miles. So there, you're saying like, oh well, it's you have to go to a bigger scale. 1 foot observer in a 1.2 mile horizon. That's not hard to
Well,
test. You can go to
yeah.
a
So
5 mile lake and bam, you can test that easily. So for me at the ocean, it was like you can do like 20, 30, 40 miles, and that's plenty to test the claim. Oh, go ahead, AI.
right. So transversely, the question will be asked to you when you say you need a bigger scale. You need to know what scale the differential is going to be pronounced or noticeable. So, for example, you could argue at a micro scale you wouldn't notice it, but eventually, right, there's going to be enough of a differential to where it's ascertainable by either our senses or machines that we use for measuring. So I would submit to you, just like our friend said here, that over certain distances, the scale is so pronounced that it'd be easy to measure with the precise types of instruments we have, such as lasers and other types of things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not true that we don't have the tools necessary. Okay, so let's talk about it. University of Kansas, right? Went out and measured Kansas, the entire state. They determined that Kansas is literally flatter than the flatness scale of a literal pancake.
Mm-hmm.
So the state of Kansas, the entire state, is flatter than a pancake.
Mm-hmm.
So it is not true that we don't have the tools necessary to determine whether this curvature exists or not. Now, keep in mind that we all understand that land is land, right? Land could be higher than another part. It could be lower than another part. You could have ups and downs, hills and valleys. However, we all know that the surface of water, right, is flat and level. We all know that. We all experience that. So if that's true, then all you have to do is measure the water of the earth. And if it's not curving, then the entire earth that's covered in water isn't curving because it's going to have the same equipotential. So if 70% of the earth is covered in water and water's not curving, then ipso facto it cannot be a sphere. I rest my case. Ad infinitum into the future and ex ante into the past.
Okay.
It's just like the hood of the car. It can't be doing both things. That's why I said it's a true dichotomy. There is no third option. The hood is either curved or it's not. So that's what we're testing for. We're looking for either one of those two options. So if it's doing one, then it can't be doing the other. So
Well, the third option is just hope, I guess. He hopes.
cope.
No, I'm
But I also
saying
said, like, I typed in the chat as well. So the claim is that the curve is at 1.22 miles at 1 foot. So we don't need to move the goalpost back hundreds and thousands of miles away from the claim.
so. How big is the drop at 1.22 miles?
You mean?
So, what is the claim? What do Globers claim? How far would it drop at over 1.22 miles?
It's
How
8
far would
inches
it drop?
miles squared, so you just do the math.
So, what I found is at 1 mile, there is a drop of 0.67 feet. At 1.3 miles, there's a drop of 1 foot, not.
Hold on, dude. You're not clarifying what you're doing here. Did you find that mathematically, or did you find that out in the world?
Okay, I forgot. Do y'all not believe in math again? I forgot that part.
What?
Okay, one more time.
Well, you said
friend.
mathematically or out in the world. Would
No,
mathematically
hold
be
on,
wrong?
friend. Hold on. You're telling me that you found something, so I'm just asking you where you found it. For example, if you do some math equations, you can find that if you apply a certain radius to a circle and you apply the circle segment formula and you do the arc distance and all that, that you could find a certain amount of curvature in that arc. That exists in the model that you're applying the math to. So you found the correct answer versus I found an egg under my seat in reality. Okay, one's happening in math, one's happening in reality. I just want to know which one you found it in.
Okay. I found it in math because I have not personally, nor have I been shown this experiment being measured in reality by you or globe people.
Well, enter the black swan. We can talk about that. And yeah, you're using the word experiment incorrectly.
We cannot talk about the black swan.
Yeah, absolutely can.
I've talked about it for 3 hours.
Ooh, well,
it's awful.
Why don't you hold on? Why don't you give us a quick breakdown of the argument, just in your understanding?
The black swan oil rigs are supposedly some distance apart, and one should be over the horizon, and one should not be over the horizon. But you can
if you
see
talked about it for 3 hours.
Oh my
sorry.
God, he did not listen at all.
This is what
I
happens
don't have
every
the
time.
numbers.
Hold on, Prissy. This is what happens every time. You guys go, oh, I've spoken about this. I've seen it so many times. And then we go, okay, well, what does it mean then? And you guys always get it wrong. So how is it that you spoke about it for 3 hours and you still don't understand the argument?
Because the majority of the time, when I was trying to bring stuff up, no.
How did you talk about a topic for 3 hours and you didn't come out learning anything new?
Okay, give me in like 5 sentences. 5 sentences, like write it out.
Painful. I'll give it to you right now, friend.
Okay.
Okay.
Wait a second. Why are we talking about the black swan when all I want
is exactly what you're talking
about? Dude, you just asked somebody to give it to you.
Hold on, Prissy. What AI?
I didn't ask about the black
Keep in mind, Mr. Prissy, you're not the only person here. Okay.
I
There's other
understand
people that
that,
want to know the answers to these questions, right?
but the answer, I want a record of someone doing this.
That's called the black swan.
Measuring
What
the
is this,
drop.
dude? Hold on,
Measuring,
friend.
measuring.
Yeah. Let him say what this is. All right, what's this?
Why are you muted me? And then you said, let me speak, bro. Okay, so we're saying when you measure in reality, when you measure the ocean, there is no drop. Is there or is there not a drop?
Okay, so
Enter
when you
the black
measure,
swan.
okay, so you're asking,
no.
you want, dude. If someone says, so you're saying, you got to let them finish what the so you're saying is, then you answer. That's usually how a conversation works.
So,
because you don't know what I'm saying to be able to interrupt me yet, do you?
I would like to know. You guys just told me that there's no drop over distance. Right? There's no drop over distance.
So.
Measurably so. So can I see someone trying to measure it and not get the results?
Well, we can enter the black swan.
No, that's not someone measuring it.
That is, dude. If you have
hold on.
How can you say that if you don't understand what the argument is?
Dude,
because
we're devolving into chaos, friends.
You don't know what the black
friend.
swan is.
Prissy. Zip it, friend. Okay, let's be clear. The black swan is about the location of the horizon, not about drop over distance. Okay? A measurement of drop over distance would be more accurate, the Lake Itchsa laser test. So the black swan, what it proves unequivocally is that the horizon is not the geometric edge of anything. It's just an optical effect, which we already know because that's literally the definition of a horizon. The apparent location where the sky field seems to meet the ground. Mm-hmm. So we know that the horizon is not the edge of a sphere. We know that it's not the things that blocks things from the bottom up because it's in different places. And we can get bottom up obstruction appearance without any curvature. So that's neither here nor there. What you're asking is a methodological measurement using an efficient methodology that either affirms or debunks the drop over distance. So here's what you do. It's very simple. Try to follow along without interrupting the best you can. Okay, so here's how it works. Use a laser transit. Laser transit is you set up a laser, you level it, you shoot it, you account for all the deviations like millirad divergence, ambient refraction, and all of those things. Okay? You have a target on the other side, and you do the variance of that distance to the target, and you get the laser on the target. So that variance plus the variance of the distance of the target to the ground gives you the maximum differential between the laser and the ground over the distance of the laser. We use this all the time in construction, right? We put a target over there, we put a laser over here, we see the difference. We go and then we either add earth, lower earth, grade the earth, whatever. Very efficient method. So lo and behold, a team took a laser that they constructed sufficient to the task, an aiming device sufficient to the task, a leveling device sufficient to the task, out to Lake Idsil, set up their story target 25 miles away. That's over 285 feet of drop off the angle that it should be, right, if the Earth was curved. So the target should be dropped 280 feet below the line of the laser if the laser continues leveled. Plus or minus refraction, plus or minus the millirad divergence, you're looking at a swing of approximately 5 meters, approximately 15 feet. So you're looking at 270 feet. Okay, we're talking 2 orders of magnitude, right? So, lo and behold, they shot the laser. They panned the laser across Lake Idsil. Okay, so horizontal pan to a short distance target, a medium distance target, before they finally targeted the long distance target. They hit all the targets. Now, the final target they hit, they actually have a recording of the beam entering the camera. And lasers have a Gaussian profile, which means you can actually apply mathematics to what you see of the beam, and it will tell you whether the beam is pointed in different directions or straight on. When applied, it shows that the laser is essentially straight onto the camera, which means they successfully shot a laser 25 miles with a 270-meter swing and hit the target. Meaning, okay, if we know we leveled the laser on one side and we received the laser on the other side, and the maximum divergence is approximately 15 feet, with all factors considered, then that means that the maximum swing in between those 2 points, right, is roughly an absolute maximum, being extremely liberal, 20 feet. So when you're supposed to have something 270 feet and you measure it 20 feet, then the thing that's supposed to be there that's 270 feet isn't there. Essentially debunking the claim that there's a big hump of Earth curve from which the target is falling away. So yes, that has been done, and we have a PDF and a video for you, short documentary about an hour long and a shorter version about a half an hour, which takes out a lot of the fluff, and a document that you can read. And this is just one of many tests. For example, Dr. John D., PhD in optics, did a similar test over a shorter body of water, which still should have pronounced curvature. He used dual band lasers, because lasers refract at different rates, which would allow him to see the different in the laser bands and decide how much he's off on the target. He also received the signal at the other end of the water, disproving the big hump of Earth curve water in the way. And the list goes on. In fact, we have a wiki of over 100 observations, which includes laser tests like this that you can read, and we'll post that link for you as well. Also, we have the United States military, right? Hired a university to test a tri-band laser over 120 kilometers in the Hawaiian Islands, to which they were aiming at a telescope, 4-meter telescope. Now, the telescope received all 3 beams. Now you say, okay, yeah, that makes sense. All right. Why wouldn't it? It's a military laser. But here's the problem. When they applied the data into a post-firing methodology to see if refraction worked or not, they found that the models of refraction didn't fit. Right? So in other words, we know that lasers refract at different rates, and if the Earth was a globe, they should do one thing. The guy wrote a thesis paper, okay? Keep in mind, this is sanctioned by the government, done by a university on the government's behalf, and put into a thesis paper by a PhD level. He found that the alleged refraction that should exist if the Earth was a globe doesn't account for what happened, because if it was true, then the laser should have never hit the target. But they did hit the target. And the list goes on and on and on. This is just about 5 examples that I've given you. Now, this all corroborates the fact of experience, by the way. This is corroborating the fact of experience that we all experience wherever we go, that aggregate bodies of water are flat and level. So much so that it's become an axiom of human mythos, right? Throughout history. Every society has a saying: water finds its level, water seeks its level, water lays level, water will always become level, and on and on and on. This is human experience, friend. Okay, giant curved water floating in the middle of space is not human experience. That is antithetical to what we experience. We have to be told the story. We have to be shown images, which we can't verify. We have to have appeals to authority. We have to have logical fallacy stacked upon logical fallacy in order to convince us, antithetical to what we experience, that the Earth is a giant floating space ball. We experience the Earth as flat and stationary. And that includes the entire water of the surface of the Earth. There's no direct evidence to the contrary. There's no direct evidence of surface curvature that's demonstrably measured. There's no validation of the claims of the people that allegedly went to space and saw the Earth in its totality. It's basically hearsay or an anecdote at best. There's no way you can validate any of these claims. So I would submit to you, friend, that the Earth is exactly as it appears to be, Level, flat, and stationary. What say you?
Thank you for answering my question. I would like, if I don't know if you sent, I'd like video, and like I pretty much just want all the sources you just cited, because you said you have like the videos and the documentaries and stuff. I would like to watch those. And that's exactly what I was asking for.
Well, I did post the FE core at 22 minutes past the hour, so I've got a little background noise. And then someone posted a laser test 19 miles from globe pressure at 13 minutes past the hour. There's a couple more as well if you need it, but yeah, let us know.
Yeah, I would like the experiment replicated and the reasons for it. Well, the reason for it is there's the slap, but I guess like whatever information you have, whether it be videos or documents, I would like them because I would like to look at them rather than just
We
trusting
posted the PDF. We posted the video very recently. I'm going to post you the military thing here shortly.
I got the PDF. I got 2 videos.
Yeah, and of course. Oh, go ahead, BB.
Then that was me. I was just saying I got a couple videos. Some fucking guy I've been seeing on YouTube lately has been like smashing my faith and everything. So I don't know what to think. Again, I'm back and forth.
No.
Go ahead, send them to me.
He wants the
Put 'em in the
videos.
chat.
He wants, yeah, sure, but focus on the videos about what we talked about.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to find.
Yeah, for sure. I think like, you know, it's okay to take some baby steps. You know, set an obstacle and step over it. I think Sonny always give him credit for this infinite toolbox fallacy that some people seem to have, where they're like, "Oh, I need all the tools before I begin." You can do some things first, you know. You said like, I don't need a boat, or I don't want to get on a boat. Well, you don't have to get on a boat. You know what I'm saying? So you you do your homework here, but at some point, go out to the field and see what you can test on your own.
Yeah.
Regardless of your position, you don't have to be team flat Earth or whatever to go out and test the Earth. So.
Which I'm all about that too, and having receipts like this, and also either doing your own research or trying to observe it. But I am. Sorry, I just got a DM from someone. I'm all about having receipts for it, and what I try to do. First time I joined the server, I've been talking here. I know I've talked to you, CB, before. Probably past like 3 months-ish.
Yeah.
Like every once in a while, I moved, so I've only been here like once in the past month. But I was here for a few weeks in a row. And it genuinely came from curiosity of, I would see stuff like Professor Dave and Fuck the Flat Earth and shit like that. And so, which obviously, like, rage bait, and seeing, I'm like, I want to know, I have more faith in people that they have better claims, because some of the people he was arguing with, I'm like, he didn't seem very prepared. I have faith in people that there's more receipts or there is a better explanation than what he is disproving. So I tried to find a community of people who actually do that and not either cherry-picked results or like from biased source. Obviously, Professor Dave and Fuck the Flat Earth are biased already. So if I'm gonna watch Biased to the Globe, I would also like either biased or I would like information from the other side. So that's why I came here. But the first or second time after I was talking, I got hit with the globe tag, or the glober tag, which it's factually accurate, like I am a glober, but I, depending on how I conducted, pretty much, if I say anything sometimes, and like if I join in on a discussion with 2 people, or I try and ask something, some of the people, depending on what time of day, because
obviously it's 24 hours.
Yeah, you got
So I
some
noticed
shifts.
depending on
You got a
who's
couple
in
different
here.
crews. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's some that are super chill and talk to me like what just happened, and sometimes it gets a little heated like this, but like other times it's like I'm trying to get a word in and they're just saying shut the fuck up and muting me and then like kicking me from the call. And so that's why I conducted myself so cautiously at the beginning, because I wasn't sure which crew I was getting. So I didn't want to start out guns a-blazing. Because I really do just want to get the other side. Because obviously, I've been in the public school system, and people know the arguments for the globe. But it's not as easy to find the arguments for the other side. And especially not if you're looking through bias sources like Professor David. So I wanted to get it straight from the source. And so whenever I come here, it's not to fuck around, because a lot of people with the tag Glober come here and fuck around or just like ask the same question and whatever. And so, but I am here
to be fair to the people, right? But to be fair to the people that come here, many people do not know the arguments for the globes. They know the names of the arguments, and they just recite the names of the arguments as if that's proof in itself. For example, seasons.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you mean by that? Well, seasons. What else would I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Those are the buzzword earthers. Yeah.
And that's what I would see. Like, if sometimes I do my research on one topic, I come and try and talk about that topic, but then we kind of get off course. Like, that's why I didn't want to talk about the Horizon and Black Swan and stuff, because that's not, like, I specifically wanted, like, this thing, and if I don't have an argument prepared or sources already looked at, I don't want to, like, argue about that, because then I'm talking out of my ass. So, if,
absolutely, friend, but I just want to categorize the Horizon argument. So, essentially, the Horizon argument from the globe side is that a horizon can only exist on a globe-shaped object because the horizon is the hump of Earth curve in between you and what you're looking at. That's the claim that they've made for thousands of years.
Yes.
Lo and behold, fast forward to the present day, and it's easily disproven that the horizon is a geometric edge of a ball. It's easily disproven. The horizon exists in the category of optics and optics alone. It's not a geometric location of anything. This is known, one, by the definition of horizon, and two, by simple demonstrations that the horizon is in multiple locations, meaning it can't possibly be physical. So, by demonstrating something like the Black Swan, no matter how a glober argues against the Black Swan, they must concede that the horizon, regardless of whether they agree that they've conceded this or not, they must concede logically that the horizon is not a physical location. There's no other way. And that's just the point. So globe says horizon is proof the Earth is a globe because it must be a physical location. Somebody comes along and says, no, it's not a physical location, therefore you can't use it as the necessary proof of a globe. That's sufficient in itself. No other explanation is needed. Simply disproving the claim that it's necessary you must have a globe to have a horizon, right? Or that the horizon is this or the horizon is that. If you disprove those claims, then they're disproven. You don't need to fulfill any other tasks. You don't have a burden of proof to replace it. All you have to do is disprove the claim on the table.
So, I have... Yeah, so other times when I joined this call, sometimes it goes like this, like the first couple times. Sometimes it didn't go like this. Sometimes I was being So I notice, which both sides do this, but you don't... It's very hard for either of us to give up an inch of like, so you believe this, yes, because you think it's a trap, and I think it's a trap when I get asked that stuff here too. Like, so you believe this, and you're like, well, not really, and so it's like, nobody wants to confirm or deny anything, and then we just don't get anywhere. And so,
Well, I could maybe address that just really quickly before you continue.
oh no, you're good.
I have this idea. I dubbed it BYOB, right? Maybe you're familiar with like bring your own booze.
Yeah.
So one of the things is people will come here and they'll do this BYOB thing where they'll bring their own ball.
Mm-hmm.
So like the globe claim is on the table for everyone to see. So people can't come here and be like, well, my version is like this. So
Mm-hmm.
I think we're just trying to hold the claims accountable. So I think like when we ask you like, do you believe that the Earth moves or whatever? I ask people if they think buildings move. They'll be like, well, the answer is yes. So period. So
Yeah.
it doesn't
So
necessarily work the other way around because we don't claim isn't.
yeah,
Yeah,
your
I have a
stance has
question
not
real
had the
quick.
time to develop, and like it's not as concrete as in consistently what it is. So every time I come in, I need to make sure what everyone's version is, because if I argue against something y'all don't believe, like the flat Earth model map or like something like that, then that's no point because y'all don't believe it. So what am I
You're
talking
essentially
about?
swatting the beehive, and they're all gonna come out and sting you.
Yeah.
I
So
have a
the first two times I was like, oh.
I have a
But
question.
if you
Oh,
measure,
hold on, buddy. Hold on. Somebody with a horrible mic is trying to cut in, and their mic isn't strong enough. So we're going to have to yield the floor so they
I
can
think
say
it
what
was
they want to say.
Not sure.
Can you hear
Or was
me?
that Rad?
Go ahead, brother.
I just wanted to know if he knows the difference between a belief and a fact yet.
So, yeah, first time I joined, I got this something similar to this, which is what does science actually mean, and what does an experiment mean by definition. And every time I've tried to go back and forth in it, we have disagreed on the interpretation of the dictionary definition.
Well, I did notice that you were using the word experiment a couple of times pretty loosely. I think that we can get to that, but I think that it's important to understand that
I try
science.
not to use the word experiment because of we're not speaking the same language.
Well, all you have to do is say test.
Yeah.
Or you could say test. That's totally fine. But when you say experiment, that's something very, very specific.
Yeah.
Science as well. People will throw around the word science willy nilly. They'll wear it on their chest like a freaking Boy Scout badge or a pin at Whole Foods or something like that. It doesn't work that way. It's something very, very specific. So you can't have an experiment unless you are going through the scientific method. From my understanding, it requires a hypothesis. You need an independent variable,
Well,
dependent variable, etc. So you don't have that.
well,
You're
you
not doing
can,
an
but
experiment or science.
here's the problem, friends. Okay, check us out. So when you use a word that's specific in a field to that field in a venue that's talking about that field, and then you mean it in one sense that doesn't agree with the other sense, you have a tendency, whether you realize it or not, to exchange the word mid-sentence, mid-argument. And here's the problem when it comes to science. A scientific experiment, right, validates or invalidates the cause of an effect or the null for the cause. So you validate or invalidate your hypothesis. So that gives you a systematic way of determining the truth of that statement. Is this validated or is this not validated? So when you try to apply the ethos of that process to something that isn't undergoing that rigor, you're borrowing the merit of one thing and applying it to another. And that causes the audience to hear this thing is validated. This thing has been scientifically experimented on. Therefore, the conclusion is true. And when you allow that to happen, that's when you do your audience and yourself a disservice. Now, this happens all the time in science, and the reason for it is because science is rigorous and it produces valid results. So what people do is they borrow the term science to apply that rigor to their results when they haven't put their results through science. When you do that, that is known by definition as pseudoscience. You're attempting to present what you're doing as science when it isn't science.
Mm-hmm. So I understand that, and that's why sometimes I try not to use words like experiment or science or anything like that, because I did obviously slip up in this one and say experiment instead of something like test. But I want to know what the proper word, because some words are used improperly in casual conversation, but you both get what you're trying to say. So, like, I believe 1 + 1 is 2 versus I know 1 + 1 is 2. Both, if I said either of those, you probably just take it as I know 1 + 1 is 2. So
No, I would actually think that there's something wrong if you only believe that 1 and 1 is 2, because you can take two cans, one can and another can, and then you have two cans. So
okay, so I would like to know if belief is not the correct word, what's in between? Like,
I got you.
Like,
Let me help you out.
I know it.
Yeah.
I know it, but we're disagreeing on it. So if I say I know it and you know it, we can't both know it, because that would imply they're both factually correct.
Let me help you out. Let me help you out here. Because same with the experiment, you can just say test, and same with, if you don't want to say belief or knowledge, you can say, well, in your view, or is your position.
Yes.
That's a better way to go about it. So in
Instead
your
of
view, is it this, or is your position this? Instead of saying like, do you believe? Because then people are gonna be like, well, belief is a certain thing. Type of thing.
belief has tied to like faith and not as much evidence and stuff like that.
Dude,
So okay.
Dude, belief. Listen, belief has 3 common colloquial connotations and denotations. So at any time, you have 6 permutations of what you mean by belief every time it comes out of your mouth. Do you realize that?
Yeah.
So that means the other person could take it at least 6 ways, formally, let alone the informal definitions of belief.
Yeah. That makes sense. So I'll make sure to take that
3
one
things
out
you
of
can
my
say, like, do you see it this way, or how do you see X, or what is your position on X, or in your view is X blah 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 blah. That's a better way to get around people grilling you on like, well,
It's
belief.
still a belief.
But I
It's
get
just an
I
easier
get
way
it.
to avoid. Same with experiments. You said it earlier like 4 times, and I think somebody in the chat was like, "Bro, it's not an experiment." So
Yeah.
so you can avoid that by being like,
You can say now that you're 6 foot tall, and everybody else can say, "Okay, we believe you." But when we see you in reality, you are 4 foot tall. That means we should not believe you. You know, we needed to check if you are really 6 foot tall.
Yeah.
Right. So here's how it goes, brother. I'll give you a great example. It's very easy to follow. Almost everyone's experienced this in their life, so it's simple. So you go to a lake or a pool. You want to get in, but you want to know before you get in if that is cold water or warm, because you don't want to just jump into some freezing cold water.
Yeah.
So you ask homeboy who's there, who's been in the water. You ask that homeboy, "Hey, is the water cold?" And he says yes. Now, if you accept that, then you believe that the water is cold. Okay? You won't know that the water is cold until you go in. So belief in its most simplest form is just accepting that something is true. You just accept it's true. Okay, it's true. The water's cold because you said so. Then you go in the water and you know it's cold. So the one thing, you have reasons why you believe the proposition to be true, because homeboy was in there and he's felt it, so he must be telling me, right? But he could be lying.
Yeah,
So
or his cold
you're not
is not your cold.
100% sure. Yeah, exactly. So until you experience it or validate it, right? So for example, you don't have to get in. You could also use a thermometer. You could put a thermometer in the water, and the thermometer reads a reading that is cold, and you say, okay, so now I've validated that it's cold.
Thermometer is rigged.
All right.
I mean, actually, I have a clip for that. But go ahead with your question.
Thank you for giving me resources to continue learning about this
position or this thing. So I'll go and watch those now. So
Cool. Well, that gives me a chance to play the clip about the breaking the thermometer. Whoever just said that, that's so funny.
all right, I'll see you guys later. I'll watch all this stuff now. Bye. Have a great rest of your day.
What is your profession?
See, old friend, I brought more soldiers than you did.